Hello and welcome. Have you ever filed your tax return, sat back with a sigh of relief, and then had that sudden sinking feeling? You know the one. You've spotted a mistake. Well, don't panic. Today, we're going to walk through exactly how to amend a tax return here in the UK. And this whole discussion has been made possible by the brilliant team at My Tax Accountant. We really appreciate them helping us break down what can be a pretty complex topic into something we can all get our heads around. So let's just dive right in. You've hit submit on your self-assessment, you're feeling good, and then it hits you. You completely forgot about that bit of freelance income, or you missed a really important expense you could have claimed. If this sounds familiar, seriously, don't worry. It happens to so many people. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at common mistakes. Then, we'll talk about how to fix things within the deadline and what to do if you've missed it. We'll also unpack what happens to your tax bill, how to avoid these issues in the future, and finally, what your next steps should be. Right, Section 1. Made a mistake? First things first, take a deep breath. The most important thing is not to panic or ignore it. HMRC's system is actually built to handle corrections, so realizing you've made an error is the first step, and honestly, fixing it is probably more straightforward than you think. The kinds of mistakes we're talking about are usually pretty simple ones. Let's imagine Alex, a freelance graphic designer based in London. He's rushing to file and forgets to declare the income from a small project he did. But at the same time, he also forgot to claim his expensive design software subscription as an expense. See? One error means he owes more tax, but the other means he's actually due a refund. That's why getting it right is so crucial. It's not just about avoiding penalties. It's about making sure you get back every penny you're owed. Okay, so you found a mistake. Now, the absolute easiest time to sort it out is within what I like to call the golden window. This is the standard 12-month period HMRC gives you, and it's by far the most direct way to get things corrected. Let's make this real with the 2025/26 tax year. That tax year ends on the 5th of April 2026. Your deadline to file is the 31st of January 2027. Now here's the magic date. You have a full 12 months after that, until the 31st of January 2028 to make any changes. That year-long gap is your golden window.
And here's a little pro tip for you. If you've just filed online and you spot a mistake literally minutes later, you actually have to wait. HMRC's system needs 72 hours, that's 3 whole days, to process your initial return before it will let you go back in and make an amendment. So don't rush it, just pop a reminder in your calendar for a few days' time.
So how do you actually do it online? It couldn't be simpler, really. You just sign into your gov.uk or government gateway account, head over to your self-assessment details, and pick the tax year you need to correct, in this case, 2025-26. From there, you just go into the return, change the figures that are wrong, and then submit it all over again. The system will recalculate your tax bill pretty much instantly. Now, it's worth pointing out that the process is a little different depending on how you filed in the first place. As we just saw, if you're an online filer, you just log in and edit. Easy. But if you're a paper filer, it's a bit more old school. You'll need to download a fresh SA100 form, fill out only the pages where the mistakes are, and, this is key, write the word amendment clearly at the top of each corrected page. Then you just pop it in the post to HMRC. Okay, so that's the easy part. But what happens if you spot a mistake and that 12-month golden window has already slammed shut? Stay with me here, because knowing what to do in this situation is absolutely crucial, and the process changes completely. The main takeaway is this. Once that deadline has passed, the online option disappears. You can't just log in and change things anymore. Your only route forward now is to write a formal letter directly to HMRC to explain what's happened. And this letter needs to be really specific. You can't just say last year's tax return. You have to state the exact tax year you're correcting. You need to clearly explain why it was wrong, calculate how much you think you're over or underpaid, and this is non-negotiable. It must have your actual signature on it. They won't accept a letter signed by anyone else. Now for a bit of good news. Did you know that if your mistake meant you paid too much tax, you haven't lost that cash forever? There's something called overpayment relief, and it lets you claim a refund for up to 4 years after the end of the relevant tax year. So for the 2021/22 tax year, for instance, you'd have until the 5th of April 2026 to make that claim. That's a really important safety net to be aware of. All right, let's get to the bit everyone really cares about, the money. You've done the right thing, you've submitted your amendment, so what actually happens now with your tax bill? Well, there are 2 possible outcomes. First, the good one. If your correction shows you paid too much, HMRC will send you a refund. Just keep in mind, if you have another tax payment coming up soon, they might just use that refund to cover it instead of sending it to your bank. Now, for the other scenario, if you owe more tax, you'll get an updated bill. And this is so important, HMRC will charge interest on that extra tax, and it's backdated all the way to the original payment deadline. So if you underpaid by, say, £1,000 a year ago, you could already be looking at over £70 in interest. That's not all. Late payment penalties may also apply. Acting fast can genuinely save you money.
We've talked a lot about fixing mistakes, which is great. But you know what's even better? Not making them in the first place. So let's talk about how we can make life easier for our future selves.
A few simple habits can make a world of difference. Keeping good records throughout the year isn't a chore. It's your best line of defense. Use a spreadsheet, get an app, whatever works for you. Make sure you're clear on all your income sources and, just as importantly, all the expenses you're allowed to claim. And my final piece of advice? Before you hit submit, just take a break, grab a coffee, and give it one final, careful read-through. An extra half an hour of checking can save you days of stress down the line.
Phew, we've covered a lot of ground today. Let's just do a quick recap of the absolute must-know points and talk about where you can turn if you're feeling a bit stuck.
So here are the key takeaways. Remember, that 12-month amendment period is your golden window. Use it. If you've missed it, a carefully written letter is the way to go. If you find you've overpaid in a previous year, don't forget you've got 4 years to claim that back with overpayment relief. And the big one, whatever your situation, acting fast is always, always the best way to keep interest and any potential penalties to a minimum.
Look, we get it. Even when you know the rules, tax can feel complicated and, let's be honest, pretty stressful. But the most important thing to remember is that you absolutely do not have to figure all of this out on your own.
And that is where getting some professional help can be a real game changer. The expert, personalized advice that's tailored to your exact situation, I really recommend you get in touch with the team at My Tax Accountant. You can call them on 020-8570-8531 or drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. And while you're at it, you should definitely subscribe to their YouTube channel. It's packed with more of this kind of clear, helpful advice. So I'll leave you with one final thought. What's one small thing you can do today to make your next tax return that little bit easier? Maybe it's setting up a new spreadsheet for your expenses or just creating a folder for all your receipts. Whatever it is, taking that one small step now will make all the difference later. Thanks so much for watching.